This show is designed to give you first-hand insight to the human complexities in the life of an addict and the strength needed to get clean. You will see the darkness of addiction through the eyes of an addict. Each addict will share their personal experiences with drugs to try and help you with your struggles with drugs and alcohol. Your battles are our battles. We will help you with real stories from real people's lives. We, the Cast of Darkness, promise you we will travel together through the darkness and onto a road leading to lighter times.
This show is about the true nature of addiction. It is intended to be both educational and emotional as you enter into the heart of the addict. There is nothing glamorous about addiction. You will not see addicts in a luxury rehab on this show. We are here to bring awareness to the core issues that impact recovery, as well as the family, friends, and lifestyle of the addict.
So I'd like to start by introducing myself. In the streets they call me Scully. My birth name is Keith. My mom loves me very much and she thought everything would be all right in my life. So what the fuck happened?
I started drinking when I was 8 years old. I remember it like it was a couple of days ago. It was the morning after a family party. I woke up, there was nobody around, but there were drinks all over the tables and everything. I just walked around and started sipping beers. One beer actually had a cigarette butt in it, and I put it up to my mouth and almost swallowed a cigarette. But that didn't stop me. I just went and looked for another beer and make sure I looked in the can the next time to make sure there was no cigarettes in it.
I came out, I wanted to go into law enforcement, but I got arrested so many times for drinking that I had to pursue other avenues. And drinking has just always been the thing that's held me back in life. It's always the thing that gets me in trouble. It's always this dark cloud that hangs over my head that I can't get away from.
Actually, I started using drugs at an early age as well. At the age of 19, I started using cocaine, which brought me down a whole lot in my life. I continued to drink, continued to use cocaine. I stopped cocaine and now I was still drinking after that.
Wow. And it always comes down to this. I feel like I should be the one down there and you should be up here. The way things have been going for me, I think it's just a matter of time before I wind up where you are.
I don't know what it is. You know, I thought I was a nice guy. I mean, my life used to be good. You know, my life used to be optimistic. I used to feel like good things were going to happen, but now every time I turn this way, I know it's just a matter of time before something bad happens. And, you know, I'm confused. You know, I just don't know what it is that is happening to me.
My drinking also led to some more sexual abuse. So that was also in my early 20s. I was raped 4 times by guys that said they were my friends.
My name is Andra. I'm intelligent, educated, and I am an alcoholic. I have dark secrets in my life. I'm going to share part of my story with you in the hope that you can identify with some of it.
I hope you stay clean, you help me. I lost too many friends over that. And I don't want to lose either that. I don't want to be them.
I don't want this to be us.
So let's stick together and do this.
Always.
I love you too.
I love you, Agent.
Hey, I'm Prince, and for me, happiness came in a plastic bag. I hosted some of the best parties in some of the most exclusive clubs in Manhattan, and everything that you see in TV and movies, it's absolutely true. But in the club environment, it was only reinforced. My bosses did it, my friends did it, girls would flock to you, they always wanted cheap, free bump, maybe even sex in the bathroom. It's that dirty, that disgusting.
My history was pretty dark, as addiction is, and you know, watch more of the show and see how I learned to deal with all those issues and remain sober.
We're going to talk about dangerous drugs used on the streets. like K2, ecstasy, Special K. We'll have people on the show who have used drugs like bath salts and kitchen herbs. People who know the effects these drugs have on your mind. Become educated about addiction. No matter who you are or what your background is, you too can be addicted to something. If you're interested in learning about addiction for your wife, your husband, your friends, your kids, or your lovers, you need to watch this show. Be smart, be brave, and take back your control.
There's all types of different ways to go about getting better. But before you get better, you always got to hit rock bottom to find out where you're really at and find out where everything really is. I never really had a father in the house, somebody to guide me. And then once I did, it was already too late. So because my mom's boyfriend tried to guide me, but I never really listened to him, and it was his house. So eventually I ended up getting kicked out because of all the things I was doing. Like, have you ever been kicked out? Have you ever been in the streets? I know you have. It's bad, it sucks. It's the worst thing that could ever happen. But you're always doing this because you want to just get to that next high, and you never really want to stop. You don't want to stop because reality hasn't hit you yet. It hasn't hit you. You're not ready to realize that you have a problem.
The alcohol and the drugs were making the decisions for me. It was just really, really dark. I was homicidal and suicidal and just didn't want to live anymore, I wanted to jump off that bridge right over there, but I could never get the balls to do it. Every day I would think about jumping off that stupid bridge and wondering, what's going to stop me today from doing it? And something would stop me every day from doing it. It's hard to imagine, being out of control and wanting to die, but not knowing how to do it or feeling like I was too much of a coward to do it. Which made me just use and drink more. And be more confused. I had no spirituality, I had no moral fiber anymore. I was completely bankrupt morally. Emotionally, I was just a freaking catastrophe. It really, really sucked, I couldn't enjoy anything. I couldn't enjoy beauty like this. I couldn't enjoy my own life. All I ever wanted was more drugs, more alcohol, more sex, more whatever, more of the things that destroyed me. I'd lived for 33 years blaming everything around me for my problems. Never really understanding that I was the problem. How I thought was the problem. My perspective on life was the problem. Everything I learned up to that point, I learned from either a TV, a movie, or some drunk person. That's the only way I got input. I thought that was the only way that people were supposed to live. I remember being small, like 8 or 9 years old, and telling myself, one day I'm going to smoke and drink. Because that's what everybody did.
I've been coming to this store for a real long time, years and years, and a lot of times I'd come in here and stop right about here. This is as far as I went. There was nothing else. There was only this. I gotta tell you, I look at it sometimes it still looks good. I mean, there's stuff here that I've never tried before. I don't even know what that is. It looks good though, but it looks good on the outside, and every time I'd start, it would start off good. Be a good night. There'd be girls, there'd be fun, there'd be music, there'd be good times. First night, about a week later, be a hospital, jail, bruises, nightmares, bad memories, new legal problems to deal with. That's all this is now, a nightmare.
I met this girl out in the street. I don't really want to mention her name on camera, but I met this girl, and she had a car. Now, that's a whole different perspective for me because I'm homeless on the streets with nothing. So now that I met a girl with a car that actually liked me, I was like, okay, so we got together, you know what I mean? I had a bunch of schemes that I already had lined up, a bunch of intricate plots so I could make some money that I just brought her in on. So now that I brought her in on my schemes, we became like a Bonnie and Clyde, We became codependent on each other also because her drug of choice was crack, mine was heroin. So we both had different drug of choice, but that never stopped us. We did everything. We stole gas because a few gas stations up here you could pump first. Well, we stole gas for like 3 months straight. Never paid for gas one time. You know, so we always had that hanging over our heads that we had to worry about the cops and stuff like that. We stole gas. We sold drugs for money. We pretty much would steal anything. People would be like, you know, go here, steal this for us. But she came from a good family. She got lots of money, stuff like that. But we both gave it up for the life of as an addict. It's not fun. It's not something you want to be. Something you want to join into.
I'll tell you a little story about one night in my life a few years back. Went over a couple of towns, go to a nightclub Saturday night. Figured I'd pick up some girls, or at least try. I'm hanging out there 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, nothing's happening, it's a really dead night. So I said, you know what, time to pack it up. Let's get out of town, let's try a different location. So I go back to where I live. 3 o'clock in the morning, look around the streets, I run into this girl. Nice. It didn't take long before it happened, but it happened. I got some demons of my own inside, and by being around her demons, my demons came right the fuck out. I mean, they came out in a big way, and she just says to me, you know, hey, you want to try this once? And I thought to myself, I started thinking about the way it looks when she does it, the way it seems to make her feel. After I had a couple drinks, I just said to myself, you know what? Fuck it. Bang me. Shoot me up. And when she shot me up the first time, I never felt anything like it. It was just like the lights are fading. I'm driving, my whole body goes numb. I'm saying to myself, holy fuck, I never felt like anything like this in my life, in my entire life before. And it was perfect. And next thing I know, I tried it again. The next time I tried it, boom, I died. And they brought me back because I was lucky. Wasn't no skill to that or anything like that. I was just fucking lucky. I was dead on the table, the doctors told me. They said, you were going. We were losing you. If you weren't in this hospital, you would be dead right now. Shot me up with some Narcan right to the heart. Heroin, huh? Sounded good, and it was good at first, but in the end, it almost brought me to an end.
I remember at one point I was in a relationship with a woman that I really had no emotional investment in whatsoever. When I first met her, I told her I was a drug addict, and she said, okay, I don't care. Years later, I would just resent her for just no reason at all other than, you know, she was there and I just needed somebody to hate and blame stuff on. I remember at one point I was like real desperate for money and wasn't going to be working at the bar again until a couple of days later, so I knew her son had a whole bunch of toys and everything and a bunch of like matchbook cars, and I knew some of the old matchbook cars are worth money, so like I stole a bunch of the kids' matchbook cars and took them and sold them. You know, I look back at that, you know, I stole a kid's toys to get high. Because I'd already stolen her jewelry, you know, I had already like sold everything that I had that was valuable. I didn't really want to be seen walking down the street with a television, but I was probably heading there.
This woman who I was seeing, she was of Sicilian descent, Sicilian, Italian. And for some reason, they're very, in my experiences, you know, they're fiery and they take a lot of things personal. So when I didn't want to see her anymore, she took it very personal, and I wasn't allowed in her family to break up with her. This woman literally tried to have me killed. I was working on Wall Street. I worked for a prestigious law firm. My life was great. What she put me through, I couldn't take it. I picked up, I started drinking, I wasn't sleeping, I was sitting by my door waiting for someone to kill me. I would just drink and drink and drink, not sleep. Fortunately, I was very much involved in martial arts at the time, and so I was able to defend myself, and I had a lot of close calls. I had some guy try to flush my head in a toilet. until I was able to fight my way out of that. And the only way I was able to get through it is by drinking. So I did go to Florida. When I came back, the heat kind of died down, and then I checked myself into a rehab. And 10 years later, I'm here living a life upstate and enjoying my sobriety.
Now, have you ever been to jail? How much time have you done? Was it your fault that you were in jail? Well, it was my fault that I was in jail. I've been arrested 21 times total, and I got 17 convictions. So, you know what I mean? That doesn't tell you that they dropped a lot of charges, you know what I mean? So, I've done a total of about 3 years locked up. And I just came home, and then when I came home, I wasn't really doing what I had to do. I got right back into the life because that's all I knew. You know what I mean? You're homeless. I was homeless for six months, 7 months. You know what I mean? And everybody has given up on me. And I wasn't going to tell them who did it. And they said, you know, if you're not going to tell us who did it, then we're charging you with it. So that's what happened. So I went to jail for one of my friends. You're all alone when you're in jail. You're all by yourself. Nobody helps you. And nobody does the time except you. You know, nobody's gonna help you do that. You gotta do that yourself. You have nothing to look forward to, actually, because you ruined everything that you had before you came to jail. So now that you're in jail and you're sitting there and you're thinking about all the things that you did, because you know you're going to jail, you detox first off, and then you got so much time to think about what you really did.
There's another couple more stops on the way, my old journey. New York State Department of Parole, mental health facility. That's where they send you after you get out of jail from all my drinking and stuff. That's where I'd wind up. You gotta go from there to there. It's not a pleasant experience, but it is necessary. Helps keep me in line to make the changes that I need to make in my life to have a better life. That way I don't wind up back in that place buying more beer.
Had I known that I could have asked for help, I would have, you know, but I didn't know anything about recovery. I didn't know that I could stop drinking or drugging. I went to that interview with the counselor, and I got in there, you know, and I sat down on the couch, and I was real cocky with the guy, and I said, okay, you know, let's let the healing begin. And he said, no, there's something wrong with you. And he wouldn't let me continue. He said, what's wrong? And I couldn't lie to the guy. You know, I told him, well, I drank last night, I got high. And he could have said 100 different things. You know, he could have said, oh, that's too bad. He could have said, you know, why? Or you could try again, you know, but he didn't do any of that. He looked me dead in the eye and he said, what do you want to do about it? And that just floored me. You know, nobody ever told me that I could do something about it. It's been an amazing journey from there, you know, but it took that counselor to tell me that, to snap me out of something that I didn't know had control of me, you know, because it really felt like something outside of me was controlling my mind and everything. I was really, really scared, but I knew I had to change. Otherwise, I'd be dead. I'm real grateful to be alive today.
My first drink when I was 12. Smoked my first joint when I was 12 at my first concert, Ted Nugent. My father died when I was 13, and after that I really didn't have any parental supervision. My friends partied, I partied. There was a time in high school when the reality of alcohol came home to me. We had been partying all night in my friend's basement with a gallon of rum. The next morning, my friend and I were sitting on the couch watching TV. We were watching the Challenger explode, and the phone rang. It was a notification that our friend Gary had just wrapped his car around a telephone pole. That didn't stop me from drinking. I went on to college, to grad school. I got married. I drank when I was happy. I drank when I was bored, depressed, celebrating. There was no occasion to drink. Every day was a reason to drink. That's what I did. One was too many, and 100 were never enough. I was a social butterfly when I drank. I wanted to be everyone's best friend in the bar. The problem is, you couldn't understand me. You couldn't know what I was saying. I was incoherent. I was repeating myself all the time, trying to be your new best friend. It wasn't attractive. I never got a DWI. I never even got pulled over for drinking. I never got fired from a job. I was well respected, well received. What happened? I would wake up a little late for work, in bed next to someone whose name I couldn't remember, in a place I didn't recognize, not knowing which direction was home. Think about that. Alcohol stopped being a vacation and started being a full-time job. I should be dead, but I'm here to share my story with you.
So in the streets, I was homeless for a long time. I was bouncing from house to house, place to place.
You ever been homeless behind drugs? Let me tell you something, being homeless is no joke.
So, I don't know. I guess I was just sitting around one day, had a good buzz on, As I was drinking, I said to myself, you know what? I think I'm going to wind up one of these guys that I walk by on the Bowery sometimes on my way to work, that I see just look like they're a zombie, like a lost soul, like they have no brain anymore. I said, if I keep doing what I do, and that's where I'm going to wind up. But I said, no, I don't think that could happen to me. But it just started to occur in the back of my mind when I look at them that, is that going to be my future? Is that going to be me? Am I going to be one of these people that showers once a month, lives on the street, only lives to drink? I didn't think when I was a kid that could be me. So I guess it just sort of occurred to me that I guess I'm an alcoholic, I guess that's what I am, and if I don't do something about it, that's exactly where I'm going to be. Is those people that I look at them, I don't even think they're human. They don't even look human to me, but I guess they're not that much different from me. They probably started out just like me. I never thought that could happen to them, but I'm starting to feel like and face the harsh reality that may very well be me.
I'd like to welcome my sister, introduce my sister Joanne as a guest to the show.
Hi, I'm here to support Barbara. I'm not in recovery, but I'm here to support her in whatever I can do.
And I started waitressing again, and at the job I had done before I went away to college. And one of the waitresses there had this drug called peach ups, and that's when I started taking those. And that really is when I fell in love with any kind of speed. So I was speed, cocaine, crystal meth, black beauties, whatever to keep me from getting depressed, because I didn't know how to handle it, and my parents did nothing to help me. I didn't know what to do.
Hey, it's Ty. I love my family. Meet the people that have been there for us through the rough times and still are. I love you, Mom.
Hi, my name is Minnie, and I'm Ty's mom, and I'm very happy to be on the show Darkness. Thank you very much for having me as a guest. I want to start off by saying that Tanisha was a very good kid. She was very sweet, very loving. We had a very close relationship. At the age of 8, Tanisha started having a little bit of different behaviors.
So when I was 5, I was raped, and the guy took me to the rooftop. I trusted him at one point. He was a friend of the family's, and I thought he was a good guy. All the kids loved him. I felt, hey, why not me? Play with him too, and like everyone else was doing. He was asked to bring me home. I noticed when he brought me home, we skipped my floor. He took me all the way to the roof. When he brought me to the roof, that's where the rape took place. He threatened me and told me if I told anyone, especially my mother, he would kill her. So I felt like I didn't want my mom to hurt. I didn't know how to, express anything that was going on inside of me to anyone because I was afraid at this point. So I kept it all in, and I've gotten angry and angrier as time went on. Through all my childhood, I've held this in, didn't know how to socialize, didn't know how to talk to people correctly because I had so much pain inside. And I felt no one would understand, and I was afraid.
Then by the time Tanisha was maybe 10, her and I was actually watching a TV program, and Ty got very upset while we were watching the program, and she got very shaky, and she said, "Mom, can we please leave and go home?" And I kept asking her, "Well, what's wrong?" And she said, "Mom, can we please go home?" And we ended up getting in a cab, and we went home, and that's when she explained to me that the episode of the television that we were watching, someone was actually getting, incarcerated for molesting a child, and that person was actually the same person that took her to the roof of a building that we lived in. And as a parent, you begin to feel like, oh my God, I should have protected her. How come you didn't tell me?
So the shame, and because of the sexual abuse from my childhood, I was so distorted, and I just took it all on like it was my fault. And that's probably what caused me the most pain, and still today, to this day, it still hits a chord in me that will pull the shame, that makes it so shaming that I feel suicidal at times. What I did to my family, and my sister, she was my older sister, she's 4 years older than me, she was my big sister. So it broke her heart to see what I was doing, and she's forgiven me, but I feel so bad that, what I did with her ex-husband, really, it's not a nice thing. Alcohol does nothing but cause pain.
Hi, this is my niece Nicole, and she's here today as a guest to talk about some of my experiences and me being in recovery now. And she's been there for a lot of it, and I'm going to leave her now to say a few words.
This is my Uncle Swan. He's a good guy, he's always been around for the family, he's always treating us well. Come the holidays, he's a good guy, he's always wants to help you, but he has a problem with drinking, and it's been a really bad thing for the family. And we're just really happy now that he's out of that stage and he's focusing more on being athletic and working out and, having a job and being stable in his life. And coming around more and seeing us, it's a much better thing. But there's plenty of stories I have, my God, because it's been a lot of years I've heard from the family of struggling. But I just remember this bad smell on him, and I guess now I know it's alcohol, but it was just so bad. And it was all on his clothes and in his hair, and I remember, I guess he got into some trouble with the cops. I didn't really know what happened, but they came knocking on our door looking for him, and he wasn't there, but they were looking all over the place under the bed. And I remember telling the cops, he's not here, what happened? I'm not, I was really nervous. I was scared as a young kid. And it was just a very strange situation, but I guess that's what happens when you get addicted to drugs or pills and you have a problem with alcohol. I'm a college student, and I do not do any type of drugs or alcohol. I do not drink.
All right, so here's a pretty low-budget and crappy puppet show. Before I start partying tonight, my mood is, let's say, around here. Now, drinking brings me up to, let's say, here. I like that. I want to be in the upper stratosphere. Then doing coke brings me over here. The problem is that all these substances, especially cocaine, will leave your system very quickly. So, eventually, if you're not consistently using, all of a sudden, it goes down, down, down. And you end up in this emotional abyss, this atrocious feeling. You start off here, and now all of a sudden, you're so much lower than you would ever want. I mean, why would no one would want to be low? But you started off thinking that you'd only go up. But the fact of the matter is, you go up only so you can fall.
After all the friends that I've lost, family members that I've lied to and I stole from to just make sure that I had my addiction, and it wasn't even to the point where I was getting high. It was to the point where I just needed to maintain my regularity and be clear and not go through the withdrawals and do anything not to go through it. And that's what I couldn't make you understand, and that's what drove me nuts.
That's all I wanted. I wanted to just maintain my regularity. I needed to smoke a little bit of crack. I needed to do a few lines just so I could be normal. It wasn't to get me in the zone so I can go and run a marathon. It was just so I could feel like my head was clear and I could talk about anything and I didn't have to go into depth of my heart and my emotions or anything else that went on during the day. I could just listen to you.
I didn't want it to be like that. And I'm thankful for that day that we did decide to finally quit. And instead of going against each other, helping each other out, because overall that's what we should have done from the beginning. And I mean, I wish I would have done that a long time ago, because we did lose a lot of time, a lot of money, and we're never going to get that back.
I know, and one thing I just still don't tell you is the fact that I think about doing it all the time. Anytime, even when you have a headache, I'll pick up my phone and I start dialing numbers, and I know I shouldn't.
We're definitely an interesting mix of people. Some of us are at different stages of sobriety. Some of us are at different stages of maturity. And I think that it certainly makes for some interesting conversation and some interesting ideas. I really hope that as a group we can open up and learn from each other and not find that our own attitudes and prejudices, and we all have those, interfere with the real core values that this show is trying to bring. For me, this is really important. I was not a child of an alcoholic family. I didn't grow up around anyone who was alcoholic. And for me, it's really important to be able to share that with somebody else and to say, we are everywhere, not just the people you see on a corner, but everywhere. And if I can help one person, I'm really glad to be here.
Why me? Why me?
Why me? Why me?
Why me?
Why me?
Why me?
Why us?
Why you?
Knowledge and awareness bring freedom and joy. So imagine the freedom and joy you can begin to experience as you gain new insights into the true nature of addiction.
It might give him a second opportunity. Well, maybe I should try it out first, because if I change my mind, I'm on the court.
85% of those people, the first thought they had in their minds after they jumped off was, oh shit.
Yeah.
So they really didn't want to die. You know what I mean? They really didn't want to die. They just wanted to end the pain that they were going through.
Doing a drug transaction, trying to set that up as, to make it look as real as possible. We're using real money. So the cameraman, gave him $32 out of his pocket to use for that scene to make the drug deal go down and make it look as real as humanly possible. He took the money and, from the cameraman, from the cast, and just from, in general, the show, and that's part of that addictive behavior. Even though we're getting through the recovery, there's still going to be that trigger of addiction.
My recovery's strong right now, and unfortunately, Scully's isn't.
Bye, Scully.
Wow, okay, that's a strong reaction.
Yeah.
But,
Don't do drugs. Stay clean.
In next week's episode, Keeping It Real, the cast of Darkness will be keeping it real with facing their demons through trust issues. Explosive behavior can become dangerous for the other members. You don't want to miss this next episode.